Hi, welcome to Contraband Workshop. My name is Adam. Today I'll be showing you how to build a speaker out of mundane objects you have laying around your house. As you can see, the one I've constructed is made out of a cardboard box, paper for the speaker face, a wooden bridge. If you take it apart, you can see that I've constructed the magnet housing out of a bottle cap, magnets, and a washer. The coil is made out of angel hair copper wire, paper, which is connected to common speaker wire. Okay, now that we've seen a working model, we're going to break it down into the components needed to build the speaker. First, I'm going to show you the electromagnetic components. The coil making materials. This is a socket, it's 14 millimeter. We have angel hair wire. Pull this off of a relay from a motherboard that I found in the garage. It's very thin, it's enamel coated magnet wire. Regular household speaker wire and a post-it note. For the magnet setup, we have 3 neodymium magnets. I chose these because they're strong. You can use refrigerator magnets or whatnot if you will. And a bottle cap and a washer that matches the diameter of the magnets. Next we have the physical components of the speaker itself, which include the paper for the speaker face, wooden paint stir stick for the bridge, the cardboard that I've cut in order to make the face. What I've done is gone ahead and cut the diameter for the speaker face to go into and notch the edges so this can just fold up. The tools I use: a razor blade, a paper clip, a pen, and glue. That's it. The size of the spool is determined by the size of the cap and the housing. We need the cap to be slightly smaller than the spool and the housing to be slightly larger than the spool. Being that we use the spool to make the coil needs to float in between the two surfaces. Okay, I'm cutting a strip of paper off of the post-it note in order to wrap around my spool like so. And once you have it applied, we're going to adhere it with a little bit of glue like so. Alright, once it's dry, it's important that the paper not be adhered to the spool itself, because we're going to have to slide that off later. When you're at this step, you're ready to go ahead and wrap your coil. Take your wire, you want to give yourself several inches of lead wire for later. So you'll just lay this across, hold it with the thumb, and wrap the coil. And whenever you do so, you're just going to run it around the spool. I would say probably a good 75 times. Okay, whenever you have your coil wrapped, you want to bring the last part right up to where your other lead wire is connected. Okay, so they're going to run off together. When you have them at that point, It's easiest just to go ahead and put a little drop of fast drying glue on there to keep it from unraveling. Okay. Whenever you have this part ready, what you want to do is go around the entire coil and push any loose strands back into place all the way around. That way you have a uniform size and consistency all the way around it. Okay. You're also, at the end, you're going to leave yourself several inches of lead to connect to the speaker wire later. You have these together, you have them glued just for secure purposes, and you're going to go ahead and just give it a few twists. That way it'll prevent unraveling later. Okay, whenever that's done, you can lay your lead wires down, take your glue, and run a little bit all the way around it, again to prevent it from unraveling later, and also to adhere it to the paper itself, because it's going to be attached to the paper the entire time. Let's give it a little. If you're using something like super glue or something very very sticky, try not to glue yourself to the coil. Right. Okay, once it's dry, you're going to take your razor, you're going to trim off everything from the top of the coil to the end here. Be careful not to cut into your wire, because it will cause it to ground out later and not work. So just run all the way around. Okay, and then you want to be able to slide this off. So I'm going to pull that down. And what we want to leave is about 1/4 of an inch, maybe slightly more, on the bottom side of this paper. So we'll slide a little bit down and trim that as well. Okay. Okay. Once we have that trimmed, we're going to slide it down slightly further, maybe another 1/4 inch. And we're going to cut tabs in the paper, just straight down, about every 1/4 inch or so. Nothing too specific, you just want to be able to fold those out later. It's all the way around. You got a little messy with that one. Okay, so you're going to want that to be able to fold out later, like so. And then go ahead and pull that off of the spool. Be careful not to crush the coil during this process, because sometimes it doesn't want to slide off so easily. like so. Bam. And that's your coil with the lead wires. Okay, next is the box. All we have to do here is glue these edges to keep the box together. And we're just going to do a little bit of glue here. Put that in. And I'll just use a little strip of tape to hold it while it dries. Okay. And do that on all four corners. Like so. And then let that dry. Alright, next is the speaker face. I've chosen something to draw my pattern that is about, in this case, is going to be about an inch or so larger in diameter, being that whenever you cone your face and cut your tabs, you need this to be larger than the hole that you put into the box. So just lay it down. Draw the circle. And cut it out. Once you have the circle cut out, you want to take your paper clip and run a score line close to about a ½ inch in all the way around. And you're going to use this as a guide for folding the tabs out at the end, which we'll come to in a minute. Now what we want to do is find the center point, get it eyeballed in there. It's going to be pretty close. Alright. I'm going to draw a couple of lines and cut a piece of pie out of the circle. Once you have it at this point, we're going to be folding it in on itself to make a cone. So when you have about where you want it, go ahead and lay down a bead of glue. Fold it in on itself and set it like so, and let that dry. We're going to cut some tabs into the ring of the face. We're going to do that every couple inches or so, nothing too specific again. We're going to go from the score line out to the edge. Okay. And then you want to be able to fold these out. Once you have the tabs cut and folded, we're going to run glue on the tabs, on the bottom side of the tabs, mind you. Whenever the glue is still fresh, we're going to attach the speaker face to the box. So that speaker face It's going to fit right down to the center of the box. And then let that dry. Alright, once the face is attached to the box, it's time to attach the coil to the face. What we're going to do is we're going to run a little bit of glue onto the tabs of the coil, very similar to the way we did the speaker face. Just get a nice little coat on each of them. And once that's there, we're going to attach the coil and the paper that it's attached to the center and back of the speaker face. And make sure those tabs are pushed down nice and tight. And then let that dry. Okay, once everything is in place, what I'll do is push the center out. That way, get a little speaker look on the front side. The next task is to measure your bridge and cut that piece. That way, we'll have everything lined up to attach to the magnet. You'll end up with a bridge that's going to fit snug on the inside of the box. Okay? After this, we're going to find out where on the bridge the magnet goes in order to have everything set properly. And in doing so, what I'll do is just put the magnet housing on the coil. As you can see, the coil is going to free float in between the edge of the housing and the washer face. It should just sit right in there. Okay? So I'll take a dab of quick drying glue. Okay. And the bridge. And just push the bridge down until it's going to connect to the magnet housing at the right spot. Alright. Flip that over and pull that out. I'll let that sit to dry. What we need to do is remove the enamel coating on the edges of the wire so they'll connect with the speaker wire whenever that's done. And my preferred method is just to use a lighter and burn off the enamel coating. And you don't want to get the flame too close because it will melt the wire, and that's going to get the coating off. Right? And then I will puncture 2 little holes on the side of the box to run the wire into, the speaker wire into. So what we want to do here, thread one side through one hole, the other through the other hole. And then give it one little tie as to secure the wire to the box. So you can tug on it and it's not going to come out. Okay. We'll run either cable to one side of the speaker wire, and it really doesn't matter which is positive and which is negative as long as they're connected. And then twist that around, make sure it's connected real well. Okay, that's one side. And here's the other. We're really just spin that around and wrap it that way to ensure a good connection. Once everything is set and connected, what we'll do is we'll secure the bridge and the magnet housing into the speaker. So run some glue on the edges. And put it into place. Okay. You're going to know it's in the right place because the coil will be free floating in the housing. And there shouldn't be any rubbing or anything. You can give it a little push on the front side and listen to see if there's any rubbing on the inside. And that sounds pretty good right now. And then let that dry. And this might take a little bit of adjustment, but you'll know as you go. And that's it. Alright, now that we have everything put together, the last thing to do is plug it in and see how it sounds. Being that I've used regular speaker wire, I've got it running into a back of an amplifier, just the positive and negative. That way we get a good sound out of it. You don't have to use speaker wire, you could use RCA cables or a headphone jack, just depends on what you want it to plug into. So let's see how it works.